Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Krista here to do the weekly reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Aquarius, if you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, check a link in the description box to alwaysastrology.com. That way you can plug in your information, learn your entire birth chart, and if you require extra information or guidance for the week, you can check out your Moon and Rising sign readings, or if this isn't resonating with you, check those out for the week. That being said, I do hope that this does resonate with you, all my Aquarians. This is for the week of May 30th to June 6th. I'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle Tarot for the main spread and drawing a card each from the Medicine Card Tarot and the Healing with the Angels Tarot at the end of the spread for additional guidance. I'm going to do a 5-card spread like I did last week. I'm probably going to switch it up next week, but I'm becoming a little bit attached to this 5-card spread, so I think I'll switch it up next week. Maybe even use a different deck for the general spread. So this is a general reading, whatever is most prominent in your life, Aquarius, this week, whether that's travel, romance, business, health issues, whatever is most prominent for you that you're experiencing this week. Hopefully you will find the messages here to be helpful and healing for you. So I wish for you all success, joy, and wellness. I invoke spirits of love, light, and beauty. I call upon archangels Michael, Gabriel, Metatron, and Uriel to guide this reading in peace, clarity, protection, and wisdom. I ask that Gaia please bless this reading for Aquarius. So far in the central position here, which represents you, Aquarius, we have the card Serendipity. I'll show you the cards up close in just a moment once they all jump out here, but it's just such a beautiful, pleasant, easygoing, just a real chill card, and this could be a real chill week for you, even if there's something upsetting or there's a speed bump or something that you didn't expect around the corner. It looks like it's all going to turn out for the best here, or you're going to turn it into something that's ultra positive. Obviously, we need to take a look at some of the other cards here to see what's influencing this feeling of serendipity for the week. But one of the major, most prominent images on the card, for example, is a 4-leaf clover. So however you feel about the word 4-leaf clover is probably how you're going to feel about the week, okay? That you have maybe a little bit of what I like to call a horseshoe up your butt. I mean that in the nicest way. I just mean that you're really lucky this week and you're going to feel it and you're going to know it. And it's just going to feel good. You're going to feel maybe even swept away by something that feels lucky or positive, super positive this week, Aquarius. So that's beautiful. The energy that you're just coming out of into the week, Aquarius, is the sun, the card Chop Wood. Chop Wood is the card of humility and having your feet planted on the ground. So even if you were coming out of some energy that brought you down to earth or that was humbling, I'm trying to steer away from the term humiliating versus humbling. Hopefully it wasn't a humiliating experience for you, but we had 2 cards jump out there. I'm just going to wait for one each here. But yeah, something that got your feet, something to make you feel like you had your feet planted firmly on the ground, and something that was humbling. If you were higher, and I'm speaking ego here, if you were higher than perhaps you ought to have been, or if you need to be brought down to quote unquote size, that's already occurred. And like I've been saying in several of the Aquarius videos over the past few weeks, Aquarius really doesn't suffer with an untamable ego problem anyway. And by that I just mean that although Aquarians do generally have very strong egos, they're not egocentric. You are the opposite sign of Leo. Leo is about gaining that affection, about that being that leader, uh, quality and personality style, for example, as opposed to Aquarius, who's happy being part of the group, whether you're leading it or not. Because you already have such a strong ego, you don't need to lead anything. You know that you're your own personal leader. So if there was sort of an engagement into something that was out of your depth, or a little bit past you, or maybe you misspoke, whatever it was, there was just a moment or an opportunity, rather, for humility here. And if nothing came about to promote this feeling of humility or being grounded or having your feet planted directly on the earth, which is really, frankly, a beautiful thing, it doesn't mean like anything outside had to happen for that to happen, for you to be aware of this. Sometimes it's just a nice mental place to go in our own hearts and in our own minds, where we remember that we're, biological, vulnerable beings on the planet who do need support, however much of a rock, that rock and island type of mentality that the Aquarian sometimes seems to have. They don't need anybody, but they're everyone's best friend. So this is just having your feet planted on the ground and being better off for it. It could even have led part and parcel to this feeling of serendipity, of being free from something that was holding you back, or from a source of stress. In the outside influence or conscious position here, we have the soulmates card. This is one of the most beautiful supportive cards in this deck. I would say alongside of a leg up and the loyal heart cards are some of the most strongest uh, together partnerships, relatability, getting to the core of issues, feeling supported and supporting others. This does have to do with a great deal of love. Like I always say in anyone's reading, whenever the soulmates card appears, just because this one of these creatures holds the key to the other's heart, and just because there are hearts floating all around, it doesn't mean that this is a romantic or a love interest. Many of the humans' soulmates in life aren't necessarily romantic affairs. They are just about connecting with other people whom you resonate with so fully that you feel like you've known them forever, or you can rely on them, or they get you. And it's a really peaceful, loving place to be. On the other hand, if it is a romantic venture, that's lovely too. It means that you've met your soulmate, or you're dealing with a soulmate issue here, and you're very supportive and feel very supported. In the internal influence or subconscious position here, Aquarius, you have poised. Not entirely surprised to see this here either. It's really interesting. Like I said, I'll show you up close in just a moment. These two cards really are nearly identical in color, in action, in behavior, and in intention. Serendipity means being swept away in something that you feel really positive and supported about, feeling lucky. Poised means that you know that you have what it takes. You have everything within, and there's just zero worry. Zero worry here. So just a really lovely place to be for you this week. And with the probable outcome card being peace, I just see you having such a fantastic week here, Aquarius. So just as a quick rundown before I show you the cards up close in a moment, we have serendipity or luck. We have the card chopped wood, which is about humility. We have soulmates, which is about togetherness and understanding, pureness of the heart, connectivity. We have the card poised, which is really being able to access any part of yourself, and particularly in difficult or troubling times, in order to conquer any fear or that trouble in particular. It means that you have what it takes within, and you're very confident here. And then with the probable outcome position, the card peace, this is your goal. This is where you reside, I believe, internally here. This is where you want to see these relationships sparkle, who you want to be in them, and what you expect from the other people you're having these relationships in. You expect this from them. So just beautiful, beautiful cards. There's not a great deal of pink. There's some muted pinks here, some muted greens, some muted blues. So I wouldn't say like anything heavy or intense going on this week. Like I said, because of the energy that you're just coming out of, and because the reading is for the week, I would say you might feel a sense of humility or having your feet planted on the ground, whether you did this or not, within 48 hours of today. So 48 hours 2 days ago or 48 hours from now. And then this will bring in a great deal of peace and connectivity. You might even find that this sense of humility here is what leads to these types of communications or conversations or revelations, etc., in order to get you to these next level places where you can reach incredibly beautiful, loving places like soulmates and peace and serendipity. So, and it's kind of, it's amazing too, because it's kind of like a human yearning, right? Like the healthy human really yearns for serendipity, really yearns for peace, really yearns to have what it takes internally to get over conquests or hurdles, and really yearns for connectivity. So this has found you, or you have found it this week, Aquarius. So like I mentioned, in the central position here, we have a serendipity. You can see this gorgeous little fairy just flying on the stem of a four-leaf clover, and you are just being taken along by this sense of luck here. Whether or not you were part and parcel of producing this luck for you, I wouldn't be surprised if you were, because you are generally speaking, unless you have some heavy planets around you, generally speaking, are a very optimistic planet, and very courageous, and very strong ego. So it wouldn't surprise me here if you created this sense of serendipity for yourself. Regardless, you're enjoying it, and you ought to. Like I said, you're coming out of this energy. It's like it's a broom. It's about cleaning up. It's about having your feet planted right on the ground. And one of its key words out of the book, for example, is humility. This is just a really nice place to be. It could be about, if we think of the story of Cinderella, for example, that her whole world was about humility. And this is part of what I believe made her beautiful. Even though the fairy tale doesn't touch on that portion of the story, if you really think about it, you can look at the lives of her stepsisters, for example, and say, there was nothing humble about them. There was nothing down to earth. No one could really relate to them because they were just mean and they expected everything done for them, etc. But Cinderella was different, and it wasn't just her beauty. It was the way that she related with the world around her. It was the way that she dreamed. It was the way that she was able to take criticism or able to get over something difficult. She used her imagination to reach higher. So I would say that humility could be a gift in many, many situations. So in the outside influence card, again, we have soulmates. This is definitely something that's coming from the outside into your life, but you're definitely part and parcel of it. There are two people or two individuals here. You can see that this individual has a big key to this one's heart, and there are just hearts everywhere. And this one is leaning on the other. So this is about reciprocity. This is about being there for others, having them be there for you, and sheer understanding. And you know what? Understanding someone else and being understood, I'll swear, is worth its weight in gold. So this could feel like a certain wealth to you, like a certain richness to you. It's interesting too, because after telling the story about Cinderella here, for example, it's like what became more important to her was a good heart. Yeah, it ended with a prince and everything, but let's imagine he wasn't, and he was just this decent person who really cared about her heart. This is what's going on here. This is about two individuals, at least, who really care about each other's hearts, whether or not it's romantic, okay? And then in the internal or subconscious position, which basically means you may not even be aware of this, but you're definitely bringing it to the table. It's like this is what you're bringing into the week, is poise. And I'll show you just quickly that how similar these two are. Like I mentioned, this one's sort of floating away. This one's sort of jumping with joy. She feels everything. She feels the energy. She feels the stars. She has what it takes, okay? Probably the most succinct way to put this card is having what it takes and not being concerned or getting wrapped up in concern. And then for your final card, this is the probable outcome, the peace. Again, just gorgeous imagery. We have literally the dove with the olive branch in her mouth. We have stars and hearts around this fertility symbol here. There could be a great opportunity to develop a peaceful relationship within the arts here. Because of the fertility symbol, if this isn't about arts and this is about actual relationships, there could be something about a child or a development around the dawning or the birth of a project, a child, an idea, etc. That is dealt with a great deal of love. Both of these cards include enormous amounts of hearts. So just beautiful to see for you. I just don't see any upset here. I don't see any difficult decisions here for the week, Aquarius. I don't see any self-doubt. I really feel like you feel confident that you're being propelled in the right direction for yourself. So congratulations. This is just beautiful to see for you. The soulmates card has been showing up a little bit for, I would say, about half of the signs this week. Whoa, that's a lot of cards. Let's keep shuffling. So there could be a lot of maybe spring fever energy around reconnection with people. If it is romantic, if it's not romantic, it could be about a reconnection over a project or idea with someone that you lost touch with or weren't headed in the same direction initially. In the card, the grouse, one of the additional cards here, we have, I believe this is Sacred Spiral, but you know what? I'm going to double check because I am not ultra confident that that's what it is, and that's what it is. Okay, so grouse is Sacred Spiral. This just basically means that for the week, Aquarius, that this could feel like it's something that could become something larger than yourself, or that you're feeding or serving something larger than yourself here, and that you feel very supported by something larger than yourself. If you're a spiritual person, then you already have your own relationship with, you know, God, however you imagine that, or angels, or maybe even, you know, deceased ancestors, for heaven's sakes. We forget a lot of times how much our ancestors or ancestral stories play a part in the way that we go about our lives, the way that we manifest fairy tales, the way that we manifest you know, storytelling in general. And I think this could be pointing to a sense of reconnection with something larger with yourself and being available to be I'm trying not to say productive or produce, but to be maybe the conveyor of something bigger and deeper than yourself. So Sacred Spiral is also about the sacred like seasons, the sacred cycles of things. And perhaps if this was a cycle for you and this is coming full circle for you, you might find this time around that you have an opportunity, or that you're going to take an opportunity rather, that you had set aside before, and it's going to cause a great deal of joy or relief for you. In your final card for the reading, you have the card Celebration. Again, just beautiful. This angel is literally celebrating with the sky and this beautiful full moon, and she's giving a lot of thanks and just very, very grateful. So I think along with the soulmates and the serendipity, the peace, the feeling poised, I think there is going to be a great deal of reason for celebration for you this week, Aquarius. So just lovely to read for you. If you have any comments, please let me know what you think of the reading. And check out the description box for the cards that I used, my ebook, and why I do what I do. Make sure you subscribe. That way you get notifications for your weekly readings that I do for you every week. I hope you take good care of yourself in the meantime, Aquarius, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.